Knob Creek. Just saying the name makes you feel like you're about to learn something. Like maybe you're about to uncover a secret that only true bourbon hunters get. And let's be honest, it also makes you feel like your brain and your liver might both get a little workout tonight. Don't worry, I got you. We're about to take a dive into one of Kentucky's boldest bourbons, sip by sip, story by story. We're talking history, legends, flavor profiles, and a few fun facts that'll make your friends ask, wait, you actually know that? Knob Creek isn't your casual, easy sipping bar bourbon. No, it's a kind of bourbon that commands attention. Thick glass, cork top, age statement proudly on the label. It says, I'm serious, but I also know how to party responsibly. Ish. We're going to break down who started it, where it came from, what makes it unique, and why it's earned a permanent seat at the bourbon table. So grab your glass, straighten that tie, or don't, and let's do this, Bourbon Hunter style. Who started it? A guy named Booker Noe. And when I say legend, I mean legend. This is the kind of guy whose name alone makes bourbon nerds nod respectfully. He's the grandson of Jim Beam himself. So bourbon was basically in his DNA. But here's the thing. Booker wasn't content with just following the family recipe. No. Back in 1992, he looked around the bourbon world and thought, we need something bolder, something with more kick, more character, something that doesn't just sit quietly in a hotel minibar waiting to be ignored. And that's how Knob Creek was born. A bourbon with personality, attitude, and a backbone that says, I'm not messing around. And yes, it's named after an actual creek near the distillery. Because why not? It's bottled. It's almost poetic. Nature meets tradition, with just enough grit to keep things interesting. That's the Booker touch. Serious bourbon that tells a story you can sip, savor, and maybe brag about at the next bourbon tasting. Where is it now? Well, Knob Creek has officially settled into the Jim Beam family, but don't let that fool you. This is the rebel child of the Beam clan. It's got attitude, it's got depth, and it definitely doesn't play nice with watered down cocktails. The flagship 9-year-old foolproof expression is like a wake up call in a glass, bold, rich, and unapologetically flavorful. And over the years, Knob Creek has gotten a little adventurous. There are small batch releases that feel like secret handshakes for true bourbon hunters, rye variants that bring spice and edge to the game, and even limited editions that turn the bottle hunt into a full on expedition. Basically, Knob Creek isn't content with just being another bourbon on the shelf. It's the one that makes you pause, lean in, and say, yeah, this one's serious. And for those of us who love the thrill of tracking down bottles, it keeps the game interesting year after year. Who's behind the magic? Well, the short answer, the master distillers at Jim Beam, the folks who keep Booker Noe's legacy alive and kicking. These are the people who stare at barrels of aging bourbon like they're precious little treasures, and somehow manage to coax every last drop of flavor out of that oak like it personally owes them money. Seriously, the craftsmanship here is next level. And it's not just about keeping tradition alive. They've had a lot of fun along the way. Knob Creek has seen its fair share of collaborations that make the bourbon world perk up. We're talking partnerships with chefs who want to put Knob Creek glaze on their signature dish, mixologists who push cocktails into bold new territory, and even other spirit makers who wanted a taste of that high rye, full body goodness. Basically, behind every sip of Knob Creek is a team that knows how to balance boldness and finesse, tradition and experimentation, and a little bit of bourbon swagger. That's why even after decades after Booker first dreamed it up, it still feels alive, vibrant, ready to surprise you with every pour. So let's talk about the bottle, because Knob Creek doesn't mess around. This isn't some flimsy, half-hearted shelf ornament. It's thick glass, short and stout, heavy enough to double as a paperweight if you're into that sort of thing. The cork, solid, like it's a fancy wine, but the vibe of the bottle screams, I mean business. It's the kind of thing that feels substantial the moment you pick it up, like the bourbon inside has earned its weight in your hand. And that 9-year age statement, not marketing fluff, that's real time in oak barrels, where the spirit has been mellowing, soaking up flavor, and developing depth that you can taste with every sip. When you pour it, the aroma alone is enough to make you pause. Notes of caramel, vanilla, toasted nuts, maybe a hint of dark chocolate if you're lucky. Then the first sip hits, and it's like a hug for your soul, with a fist for your taste buds. Bold, complex, and unforgettable. What really sets it apart is how the bottle and bourbon work together. The design tells you this isn't actually sipping. The taste confirms it. It's a package built for hunters, bourbon hunters, that is. People who appreciate history, craft, and the thrill of something a little bit wild, a little bit refined, and 100% satisfying. And if you've ever held one of the Knob Creek barrels, you've probably noticed it's not completely smooth. A little bit of wave, just like that creek. So, what makes Knob Creek truly unique? It's all about the balance of bold and smooth, like a tightrope walker carrying a barrel of bourbon while juggling a flaming torch. The high rye content gives it that signature spicy backbone that makes your palate sit up and pay attention, while the 9-year oak aging adds layers of warmth, richness, and depth that linger long after the last sip. This isn't a bourbon that hides behind sweetness or pretends to be easygoing. Knob Creek has character, attitude, and a kind of confidence that makes you respect it immediately. It's the kind of bourbon you reach for when you're pondering life's mysteries, celebrating a hard-earned bottle hunt, or, let's be honest, just trying to casually impress your friends who think they know bourbon, but they don't have a clue. And here's the best part. No matter how fancy or intimidating it might seem, it's approachable enough to sip neat, drop into a classic cocktail, or just stare at lovingly on your shelf while you plan your next bourbon adventure. That balance, bold yet smooth, spicy yet mellow, is what keeps Knob Creek at the top of the hunter's list year after year. So there you have it, Knob Creek Bourbon, the 1992 Rebel, born from a Beam family legend, bold, flavorful, still kicking ass in the bourbon world. Go ahead, pour yourself a dram. Consider it a history lesson with consequences. Seriously, this stuff teaches you about oak, spice, and patience, and maybe also about how many barrels you can age before your shelf collapses. If you like the little bourbon adventure, hit that subscribe button because trust me, we've got more spirits, more stories, and more sneaky hunting tips coming your way. And hey, joining the Bourbon Hunters isn't just about bottles. It's about surviving the flippers, chasing the drops, and looking ridiculously cool while doing it. And that's another pour down. If you enjoyed hanging out in the hunt today, don't leave me standing here like an empty bottle on a Sunday morning. Smash that like button, hit subscribe, and drop a comment about what I should track down next. Remember, bourbon may age gracefully, but my YouTube channel only grows if you feed it. I'll see you in the next hunt. Cheers, Bourbon Hunters.